Welcome back, and now I'm going to be doing the Battle of Mansfield. So all I did to prepare for this battle is grab a couple of my more intact infantry units and boost them back up to 1200. And then I grabbed most of my artillery that is around 2-star and I want to get experience for, and most of my snipers. I also switched out the smaller units, so they're using the Whitworths, and then these, where'd they go? No, I have them in here. There they are, right in front of me. I have the larger units using the scope Whitworths, because these are the units I want to get some more kills on and get some more experience with. Also swapped out some of the weapons, switched to 20-pounders onto a bunch of these, switched the 14-pounder onto these. These are the guys who lost a gun at Chickamauga, so I'm just gonna get them some more experience to get them back up to 12 guns. But that's pretty much it for camp. I'm going to be using a rather unorthodox strategy that takes advantage of the lack of a time limit in this battle. Otherwise, you would clearly want a lot more infantry. The other interesting thing is for some reason we are at the minimum size, and for some reason, I'm not sure why, we are only facing 27k. Every other person's campaign that I've checked, they are facing upwards of 40 to 45, and even my old save, where I'm 20k above the minimum, and using units of similar size, but I have fewer of them. I'm also was facing 40k in that old save. So I have no idea what is going on with the scaling algorithm for this one, because if I can add 20k worth of men in 2.5k increments, and this scaling number is going to go down. Normally that's not how side battles works. I've checked my old saves. That's not how those old saves works. So don't know what's going on. I even pulled up scaling algorithm and went through it, and no obvious reason I can come up with as to why this is working the way it is, but that's, for whatever reason, we're facing 13k less than we really should be, and we could be, I think when I had a 20k man, I got this down to like 24k or something like that. So a very odd battle. I guess your experience may vary. I expect to face probably closer to 40k here. But, okay, we'll go into the battle, and there will be plenty of time to wait. So, let's get going. So my basic setup is to put most of my army in the north and some snipers in the south. So I'm sending the infantry up north. That's where I'll mostly need the detached skirmishers, and if I get charged, then I'll need the infantry up there to keep stuff off of my artillery. Bringing in all the 20-pounders and I think the 14-pounders initially. And so there's a skirmish unit directly east of that, where those snipers are, and then there's some cavalry and some skirmishers, so I'm into the woods that I'm going into. So I'm just going along the board edge to avoid most of them, and I'm using detached skirmishers in case they decide to come after me. I think it depends on what perks the AI units spawn with, but sometimes they will come after me when I do this, and sometimes they don't. But even if they do come in, like, just having some skirmishes there is enough to discourage them. So just setting up in a position where I can find them and push them out so my other units can get through. I could let them in behind, but I really want to, I need to get those units out of there so I can get everything else far enough forward that they aren't spotted. And most of the artillery hasn't rotated to find me yet. So I can save to sort of bully these guys out a little bit, retreat and go back to hiding. The main thing is I need to clear out that skirmish unit, and there's 2 cavalry units down there, even though I can only see one of them. So one of them must have spawned in stealth port and the other did. Same thing down here. I need to clear out the 2 cavalry units in there. I think there's also a skirmish unit that starts in there, but it wanders off at some point. Looks like I got an artillery unit. So now we've got 2 skirmish units, which isn't great. We're still not really taking too much artillery fire, so I'm going to fight this a little bit, get my artillery focus on them. These guys down here are mostly just going to sit there for a while. You can sometimes cross. I guess it looks like I'm sending them over a little earlier. You have to be real careful about when you decide to cross, just because if you screw up and some skirmishers or some infantry get in there, you are never going to get them out with just the sniper force. So you got to be real careful about that. I'd also point out, this is probably not really the best strategy to do this. It gets extremely good results and it works, but it is very frustrating. It takes 3 times as long to work as just winning the battle normally. What I used to do is I would just send about 5 or 6 infantry units and a bunch of artillery to the south, along with some snipers, and then I'd send a similar sized force to the north. And I'd sort of ping-pong the units back and forth between me. Like I'm sort of going to end up doing eventually anyways, but I'll have more units in place to actually hold off charges and stuff as they come in. My goal at one point was to try and more or less be far enough south to start engaging these reinforcements as they started coming in. You have to push decently hard for that, but there's not a whole lot up there, and most of the infantry, before these reinforcements come in, most of the infantry is stuck around the flag. It doesn't move. So you do have a fairly easy time pushing down if you want to do it. But I got the idea into my head that I wanted to see if I could do this with virtually no casualties, and half a dozen attempts later, finally managed to make it work. So in terms of taking this going forward, I would say there are some good things to take out of this. The double flank strategy is definitely my recommendation, regardless of how you do it. Like, I've seen people go straight in from the front. I would not recommend that. You're going to take pretty heavy losses, especially if you're using the mod that lets large cannon units actually do damage. You are going to be walking straight into canister and have a bad time. So that's also why I have those 2 intense skirmishers down there in the southwest. Those are going to be used to sort of drag units back and forth. I have to be really careful about when I start moving units down to the north, because all these free reinforcement units down here just got a vision there. That was really dangerous. Decided to run away again, and nothing fired at me. But you have to be really careful about when you decide to move units down, because once they have vision of you, it's pretty hard to get rid of it, because there's a bunch of 3 stars cavalry and skirmishers that will come up after you, and then the 3-star infantry follows, and it's just things start to fall apart if you do that. So that's why I have everything sort of lined up on the board edge and clearing out anything I can hit from there, and then I'll slowly start moving stuff down as I run out of targets. But I've got a bunch of different range artillery, so I've sort of got to be careful when I select and give targets. So see, we have several of them moving. We don't want them to move. The other thing to note is that I'm not sure if there's some sort of spot bonus to the AI on this map, or if the cover is just arbitrarily bad in some places. For example, like when I push up with infantry, I'll have a line of infantry like right along that southern set of trees, and where that northern cavalry unit is sitting, I'll have an infantry unit there, which is technically in heavy cover, and 2 units to the left of it are in light cover. They will be hidden, but the unit in heavy cover is not, and will not get back into cover until I retreated all the way across the river, which clearly doesn't make any sense. But that's part of the reason why I tried this approach. Is I started off doing it with infantry, but it's really finicky if you can get the infantry in there, clear out the cavalry, and then keep everything far enough away that your infantry stays hidden. because if your infantry doesn't stay hidden, you basically have to push hard from the north, because otherwise you'll get overwhelmed down there. It'll take a lot of artillery fire. So as you can see, we're starting to get dark, which noticeably impacts spotting. So I'm trying to get a little closer to see if I can get some vision. Gotta be careful, because you see, as soon as... So in the base game, the AI has a charge distance of... I think it's something... I don't remember exactly, and it varies by unit and unit type, but I want to say it's something like 2,000 to 3,000. Which is why you see situations where the unit that you have vision of, it is no way possibly going to get near you. If it charges you, will charge all the way across the map. And Tedum's a really good one to see that sometimes. So this is something you can abuse pretty easily. So now I'm going to start moving these guys forward, bait the charge, and well, hopefully. So bait the charge and get a little more than I bargained for. Take the volley in the back, unfortunately. But so that triggered all the AI to start, all the free units to start chasing down here. And so that guy, even though I'm hidden, sometimes the AI sees you even when it can't. Like, don't know why it happens, but that unit's completely hidden, and nope. AI knew exactly where I was, and 2 volleys and he's gone. So that's unfortunate. Get that guy out of the way just in case, because that infantry unit's presumably going to walk back towards the flag. And now we waited, 14 hours. No, not 14 hours. We went from midnight to 4 a.m. So between midnight and 4 a.m., you basically can't see anything on the map, and no one can spot anything. So I actually used the opportunity to move some of my units forward a little bit, and I also sent my supply wagon all the way out and around the far side of the map. So snipers in the bottom right corner, all the way out and around to get them to refill. Something interesting when I did that was the snipers would not refill even when I got directly on top of it. I had to like move them back and forth. I tried turning the supply wagon on and off. I had them on the fire. I turned the whole fire on and off. But eventually, when I was basically standing right on top of them, I got them to refill. So it seems like the refill rate might have something to do with the refill opportunity, might have something to do with sight ranges. So not something that usually comes up. This is one of the few battles in the game you can actually get this late. As you noticed, it's now April 9th, not April 8th, which is the only reason we can pull this off. So, going across this infantry. Okay, we got lucky. It's still early enough they can't see me, so I can get vision on them and start clearing them out again. Just taking my time, really slowly trying to clear these out. Even when the sniper's down there, it takes forever to get rid of those units, but if I ever go forward and get seen and some skirmishers come down there, I'll never clear them out. So, I'm taking my time. Pull another unit across, get a little closer, we got the one unit. I risk moving forward. This is a good thing time to mention. So there's, despite what the tooltips say, there's no actual damage penalties for standing in water. It worked at one point in the game's progression and broke it at some point. It is something I will probably fix in balance mod for sure. I'm debating if I do it in this mod. If I do it, I'll probably make it optional. Just because that's another one of those things where some people really just prefer to be able to play the game with the skirmisher fixes and the sight lines and not have any of the base game balance affected. So I want to try and keep that mode available as much as possible, even if it's not the most user-friendly sometimes. So now we finally got rid of that cavalry. We can get the move everyone up. That was really dangerous. Like I went for hopefully routing and it ended up working. If that infantry unit had continued pursuing even when it didn't have vision, we would have had to do a full retreat and we might have had to scrap that mission entirely. So we do take a little bit of fire. That must be, that did almost no damage. That coal must be the 12-pound howitzer in this battle. I have no idea why they have 12-pound howitzers. Haven't seen those since probably Shiloh, maybe? But lucky me, only lost a couple. Not sure what the AI is doing here, just moving back and forth a little bit. So we're just backing up and taking the free hits. I moved my artillery up again a little bit. I think this is a mistake. I end up getting spotted and lose some units. It's hard to notice because you don't, units are hidden. Yeah, right there. Take the first volley, get them out. Notice a couple other units are spotted, and so those units are all ones that, like that 11-6 Tredegar and the 10-pound parrot unit right next to it. So I attacked there just to try and distract the artillery, so I didn't take any more losses up there. Yeah, those units are right next to each other. You would think that they'd both be hidden, but nope. Just the vagaries of the sightlines in this game. Yeah, overall things are going well. Snipers are able to hit stuff. They're out of ammo again, so they're going to do everything really slowly, get exhausted frequently. So one of the other... let's see how to explain this. So, reloading, anytime the way stamina drain works in this game is anytime you're performing a certain action, there's an associated drain that corresponds to it. So if you are standing still, you have one rate. If you're running, you have one rate. If you're reloading, you have one rate. So that's actually one of the downsides of slower reloading weapons, is the longer it takes to reload, the more time you're spending reloading. So if you're firing, as far as I know, it's a pretty positive gain, or at least not, there's no penalty for firing, so you gain stamina back while you reload, or sorry, while you fire. And so there's an interesting balance between how long it takes to reload versus how long it takes to fire. Now I really don't want to take a volley in the side, so I'm blocking the enemy with my skirmishers. They take some extra losses, but those are cheap recruits. I think they have Lorenzes or something, so protect the more important unit. So yeah, weapons with very long reload times will cause you to go through stamina condition much faster. Reload times are so standard in the base game that it usually doesn't matter, but it's just one of those things. If you run out of ammo, your reload time goes up and you're going to start exhausting yourself on top of it. So this is pretty dangerous that I got a unit in sight, but I managed to get lucky, and the skirmishers bought me enough time, and so they can't see anything even though I can see them. So start doing some more damage. We finally sighted one more of the artillery units. I think there's one more remaining. The unit that my snipers were hitting south and routed into the trees, or at least I think it routed and then it got vision and decided to move north because it was pretty short range. It's going to prove a little troublesome to dig out. So we got rid of him, pushing him out, start moving forward again. At this point, everything's out of ammo. Well, it's out of ammo, but we have infinite time, so just fast forward and wait, slowly move up, see what we can get sight of. I'm kind of stuck at this point because I don't want to destroy the supply wagon, but if I start moving up, it's going to see me. Oh, found another infantry unit point blank. Small enough, we're just going to wipe it out. Hit 3 or 4 sides. Shouldn't last very long. Goes. I could probably be more aggressive about moving stuff forward, but I just don't want to mess it up and get charged into a situation I can't recover from, so. But I got the supply wagon down. Safe enough to put the snipers up. Once that Ohio unit goes down, then we'll be in pretty good shape. up pretty, like, even if I brought my very best artillery, like, this wasn't going to go all that much faster, just because once you ammo, damage drops quite a bit, and everything's in cover. Oh, but we aren't taking casualties while we're doing this. So, trying to get rid of that unit again, so I can sniper, or the skirmishers a little farther forward, bring the snipers around, just to see if I can get the spotting from the west side. It's not actually that good, but swapping the snipers out, just letting them get their condition back up, so if something happens, I can run away. Notice that artillery unit. I'm going to blow him away. There must be one more somewhere. He's on blast. But from here, continue the same. Slowly grind everything down. It takes forever, but you're just trading time for kills. Not taking any casualties at this point. Alright, I don't think I finished the thought, so debating do I fix the... There's the last artillery unit. Debating do I fix the terrain to decrease unit damage when you're in it. So, like, I think, for example, heavy woods have a penalty of something like 85%, but currently do 100%, which is why I haven't worried about trying to get leave any of my artillery open or anything like that to increase damage. There's no point in 100% everywhere. So, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I did finish that. Sorry. Trying to fill time while nothing goes on, and I talk about it even in a short period. I do think it would lead to more interesting gameplay, because it would really make the fortifications much more useful. Because when you do 100% damage, and the fortifications reduce your damage for infantry, like, there's just so few situations if you're not just trying to tank. If you're sitting there and you want the damage resistance, okay, that's fine. If you're just trying to hold in melee, like, they're all right, but past that, you're just better off in 100% cover in woods most of the time. So yeah, I think I'll probably add that at some point, but I will probably do it after this campaign, just because that's something I feel like that needs to get tested a little bit more. Hopefully I'll get to it in the balance mod soon. So at this point, I could probably start moving up, but I know there's that artillery unit there, and I don't really need any more counter battery fire, so I'm just waiting. Throwing out this skirmisher down here, so he doesn't get me caught again. Once we clear those infantry units, we should be able to find that artillery. Then we can put everything up and accelerate the pace a little bit. So, draw them all away again. The artillery, gone. So, now we can start moving things up. Though I still want to be careful, because it's still 3-star infantry. We haven't really reduced it. When it's in cover, it's hard to reduce its morale as much as you would. Not sure what that unit's doing. It's decided it wants to go into the field, so I have to get the snipers out of the way. I'm bringing this guy back up to hopefully get charged, but it doesn't get the units I want. But now I can start moving everything up. So the one thing I have to pay attention to is, once I take the flag, I've only got the 40-minute contested timer before the battle ends. So I can't just walk straight to the middle, so I have to take my time there. So I run into a massive infantry that I think that's the stuff that usually just sits there. So I find them and then I back off because I really don't want to get into a rifle engagement with them any sooner than I have to. It's especially because 4 of my units are barely out of musket status. Like, they aren't particularly great. They're using the worst weapons I still have in my army. So I'm just not gonna win. Not gonna trade favorably against that. But I think I've got all the skirmishers, so I can really start bringing the snipers up, doing some extra work. So I bring him forward just because I want to pull some stuff into 24-pounder range. Take a volley, but I'm lucky, and that's on the non-scope of worth, which I can place easier. Not sure what triggered that. No idea why he came over there, but. That was convenient. Shoot him. I debated routing versus not. The problem with routing is I didn't like the direction he tried to go. He wasn't running directly away, so I think I just run. And thankfully he did get pursued. And the one thing I want to make sure I get is I want to get those supply wagons. I'm pretty sure, like, one of them, like, the artillery's fired a little bit, but I kind of figure that they should be fairly full. And I want the men. Favorably. Find another chunk. This unit takes a while. Like, there's a couple units sitting here and they take a while to push out. So I don't know, maybe I should have retreated here, pulled back, let the artillery do what it needed to do. I kind of figured I'd be able to route it. There's actually 3 units sitting there. That little tiny unit in front is blocking the bigger unit, which is kind of unfortunate. So again, this is what you would basically do if you brought more infantry. You just do this much. Maybe I should have brought bigger units. These are getting decently beat up. They're still doing all right, but you can see why I was not eager to fight these guys like this earlier. Like, you just don't do enough morale damage when you're in the woods to reliably morale shock them fast enough to win those exchanges more favorably. So, avoiding that is possible. Changing the angle up. I was hoping that they would come east more. So if they attack me to the east, then that means the flanks are presented to both the snipers and the artillery. But instead they decide that, nope, they really want to stand there. Go after the snipers whenever they see them. So avoiding the flag, technically it's one of the smaller ones, or if the control area is big enough, they still have enough units there that they're not worried it doesn't start to change. This is the point where if you add more ammunition, things would go a lot faster. But I saved the 24-pounders until this point. So they still have ammo, which goes all right. But eventually they run out. This is another scenario where if the supply perks worked reliably, they would be just fantastic in this sort of situation. I mean, you'd still drain the supply wagon real fast, but you'd at least have that extra bit built in. Alright, I think I forgot to comment on that. I actually I decided to go up to 5 logistics for this battle as opposed to do some training. I think I'm going to put the next points into training. Oh, I may change my mind, but I'm going to have to start investing more into it soon. So just get it up, get as much out of it as I can, because 5 logistics is pretty good. And any points I have left over, probably keep going into logistics. Recon is nice, I don't need it though. Like, all it would have told me is, okay, how many infantry are still sitting in there? So, starting to push in again. Still taking 0 infantry fire to do it, but at this point, I've pretty much grown tired of waiting of the artillery to slowly finishing everything off, so just starting to wrap things up. And most of those units are small enough they aren't doing too much anymore, so. And we should have fire on just about everything. And we managed to, so some of what I was doing was sort of strategically moving units forward on from the northeast to get slowly push the supply wagons away, and once they got out into the open, nothing else was going to be there to chase down and grab. And we got one, lose track, the other, or don't get the other, but get it again. Get a surrender from range and instant recapture. Finally got him the second time. Got the supplies, sending some units down to get the last runner. And got a second surrender, so not huge units, but they're completely surrounded, so the calculation's in our favor. Take the BP, just cause. And there we go. So, about 1,500 to, what, 2,200. It's about 18 to 1 after medicine. So, takes a while, but fantastic results. Only lost one officer. I think, I'll talk about it in a second. So, we got some decent numbers of stuff. One of the supplies were a little low. Not really the artillery I like to see. No idea what those 12-pounders were doing there. No idea. But got a decent number of 63s and 1861s. And pretty good casualties all around. I think we lost a couple guns, which is not something I ever like to see, but all things considered, not too bad. So, can't really complain. I think if you played this perfectly, or just had the patience to let your artillery do all the work, you could probably get this in like sub 500 casualties. Probably not worth the effort, but so that's one way to horribly exploit the AI and get out of this battle with almost, what, 8,000 extra recruits. So I think I have more recruits than I have rifles again, which, we'll fix that situation soon enough, but always nice to come out ahead a little bit. So, really didn't take too much damage. Artillery all did pretty well. Didn't get as many promotions as I would have liked, but got the 24-pounders to 3-star at least, and the snipers and stuff should be. Yeah, they're getting closer. We might try throwing a lieutenant general in there just to see if it'll push him over the edge. And the other 2 guns we lost were Tredigars, so no harm done there. It's only the 20-pounders that I'm really sad about at this point. And got another one we can get over to 3-star there, definitely. So that was one way to do Mansfield, and thanks for watching.